Hi, my name is David, and I'm going to walk you through how I solved the CSWA practice problem 9.8. So for this problem, let's go ahead and open up a new assembly. Make sure the units are set to MMGS, which they are. That looks good. And we're going to insert the base at the origin. So we'll go to Insert Components. There's the base. We'll double click on it. Click on the green check mark, and that will fix it at the origin. Now, for the rest of the pieces, it's a little bit confusing. So it looks like we can make, it looks like we're going to have to use this piece here, 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 and here, and here, right? And it looks like we're going to have to use this bar a couple of times too, right, to construct the top part right here. But it turns out that they include an assembly file for the top part, because if you didn't have that, you wouldn't know how far apart these two side pieces are. These two like sort of triangular-ish shaped side pieces are. There would be no way to get this thing fully defined. So they include an assembly of the top part. They call it the top linkage. Now the problem is, as soon as you import this, at least in my case, I'm using SolidWorks for makers. I don't know if that makes a difference, but when I import this assembly, I get error messages. Every single time I try to rebuild, I get an error message. But I eventually got to the correct center of mass, even with all those error messages. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and start inserting our components. Go to Insert Components, and we're going to first, let's load in the top linkage, just so you see what I'm talking about here. So I'll select that. You can see it's an assembly file because it's SLDASM instead of a PRT, a part file. So we'll open this. Everything's going well so far, and actually we're going to rotate it too. So if we check over here, we need the part that doesn't have these little side pieces. We need that over here to the right. And we need the pieces to be pointing down. So right now these pieces are kind of pointing up. So let's fix that first. We can rotate about the z-axis to make that happen. Now they're opening down. And then rotate about the y-axis to make sure that the bare side is over to the right. If that makes sense. Okay, and then we'll put the piece down, and you can see right away there are error messages coming up. So top linkage has rebuild errors. I'm not exactly sure what the issue is here, but we're just going to continue on as if we didn't see those big error messages in front of our face. Okay, so let's insert the rest of the components. I'm going to click and then shift click down here, but control click the base out of the list. So we're going to put these pieces down one at a time. We've got this bar. It looks like we're going to have to make this vertical. So let's go ahead and rotate it about the z-axis. Oops, sorry, about the x-axis. That's what I meant to do. Okay. But if you notice, this bar is already included. So actually, we don't even need this first bar that we put in. So it's a little bit confusing that they included. I guess they have to include it because that's what this is composed of, but we're not going to need it in our assembly here. Now we are going to need to rotate this part about the x-axis, it looks, until that will fit right in there. Okay, so we'll place that. This looks like it's oriented the correct direction to place it on that part. And then the female piston and the male piston, this one has to be rotated about the z-axis so it can fit nicely in there. And there we go. All right, let's go ahead. This is the part that's fixed. So let's go ahead and take this base linkage and attach it down here. So if we take a look, we need to make sure that this is seated all the way on the bottom. So let's take this face and make it coincident to this face. And to mate, I'm using quick mate, so I select one, then hold down Control, select the other face, and a little context menu pops up, and I can hit coincident. Okay, so that makes sure that it's at the right level there. And then you may look at this and think, okay, well, this looks like it's going to fit pretty snugly in there. So how about if we try clicking on this and make it coincident to this face right here, right? But then if you look at it carefully, and you always want to double check this, if you look at it carefully, there's a little gap right there. And that's probably not what was intended. What was intended is that this be right in the center. So let's get rid of that mate that we just set up, that coincident mate. We'll delete it. And we'll move this over to the side and set up a width mate instead. So for the width mate, we need 4 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the width mate appears. And that, after we hit the green check, we can see centers the 2 faces that we selected from this part with the 2 faces that we selected from the other part. And these 2 are also nicely spaced out as well. Okay, so far so good. We can take this and move it around this way, but there's it looks like, from this view, it's 900 millimeters from here to here. So let's set up that distance mate. That's from here to here. And here's the distance mate, 900 millimeters. All right, that slides right into place. And now we can take this connector piece and try to attach it to the base linkage. And a couple of things have to happen. One thing is we need to make sure that it's going to be on this side. So we'll make those 2 faces coincident. But then we can slide it this way. So we want to make sure it's lined up with the back. So I'm going to select this face here and this face and make those coincident as well. Okay, so the only remaining degree of freedom is just up and down, but we're told in the diagram that this connector is, the bottom of the connector at least, is 660 millimeters from the bottom face down here. If we zoom in, we can see that the bottom part is really curved, but that's okay. We can select this. We can select it and then hold down Control, select this face here, and you can see that the distance mate shows up. So we can get the distance between those or set it to 660 millimeters, and that's sliding to the correct height. Great, now we need another one of these. So I'm going to hold down Control and then left click and drag to create another piece. Now we only need 2 mates for this. We still need 3 mates. So we need these 2 to be concentric. There we go. And then we need this face to be coincident with this face. And then one last thing. Whoops. Grab this. Okay. Let me reorient this here. Okay. So we still have this degree of freedom, so we need to make sure that this face is coincident to this face. Okay, locked into place. Go back out to isometric view there. All right. So that's looking like it's at the right height. Let's go ahead and connect the top linkage with this part here. So we can make this guy concentric with this guy. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's try to use a coincident mate with these 2 faces and see if it looks pretty snug. And indeed, it does look snug. So we don't have to set up a width mate there. Coincident will do. Okay, so this can be moved up and down. Now let's attach the pistons. So a couple things need to happen here. We need to set up a concentric mate from here to here, and then also coincident mate from this face to this face. Let's try to get it all done with a smart mate and see if that works. I'm going to hold down Alt grab this circle, so left click and drag the circle over to this other circle here, and it's not quite getting it right. So let me go ahead and rotate. There we go, that looks right. So I'm going to release, and that looks like it set up both mates nicely. Okay, good. So now I'm going to take this part of this piston part and make it concentric for this other part. Fit that in there. Okay. And then we want to make this cylindrical part concentric with this one. That one we don't really have to alt drag because it's automatically, just by the way everything's lined up, it's automatically going to be in the right place here. We wouldn't be able to move it from side to side. Okay, so let's see what we have left. That's looking good. We don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to click on it and hit delete. Yes. It tries to rebuild, throws an error message or a warning message. So we're just going to ignore it. And now we can finally set the angle that we need to finish this problem off. Looks like we need a 95-degree angle from this face to this underface here. So here to here. Angle mate, 95, enter, enter. Check our isometric view. That's looking very good. So let's check our answer. 331.61, 782.22, and negative 191.0. That's exactly the center of mass that's shown in the answer key. So looking good. So I hope this video helped. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and keep studying.